You've sent your resume to 100 job openings, but you're just not getting a look in. Or you're getting to the interview stage and falling short with the frustrating feedback that unfortunately they've gone with a more experienced candidate. Well, don't worry, you're not alone. In this video, we're sitting down with an industry leader, Michael Bramble, who has over 20 years of industry experience, and he's always on the lookout for new talent to join his teams. We'll go over some of the challenges that he's faced in his career and how he overcame them, but also get his expert advice on how to crack into pharma with no experience. Stick around to the end because Michael shares a real-life case study on how his wife overcame the rejection, the hurdles, the barriers to getting into pharma with just one genius career move, which opened the door to getting several job offers and landing her first role in pharma. And not just any role, a highly competitive MSL role. That probably leads me to the next question. I'd love to hear a story about maybe a challenge that you encountered and how you overcame it.
Yeah, look, this one's probably a tough one to talk about, but I must say when I was at MSD and I was there, for over 11 years, and my best mates and people I catch up with regularly, I've got 2 different dinners this week with different groups from MSD, so love the place, and I'm the marketer today because the MSD University, we call it, is just fantastic. But I must say, I was lucky enough to have some good success early on at MSD, and moved my way through the ranks and had direct reports at a pretty young age. But I must say, I think I got to a point, and if I'd have gone back in time and talked to my late 20s or early 30s person, I think one of the real learnings and challenges was that no matter how good you are at your job and the what you do, the how you do it and how you go about it is just as important and sometimes more important. And I think, I probably let success get to my head a little bit there and probably wasn't the greatest either teammate or boss, driving people a bit too hard or just being short with people on emails and things like that. So I really, got to a point, and probably, to be honest, was probably, one of the reasons why I sort of ended up leaving MSD. I probably forgot how important it is about how you go about doing things as opposed to what you're doing, and being a high achiever and that. But if you're not making people feel good, and as you're now a senior leader, if you're not bringing people along the journey or that people don't feel inspired or empowered by you, then that success is pretty fleeting. But also, it's you're only just one person in a bigger organisation, so it's bringing people on the journey, inspiring them, and just being someone that when you walk into a room, people engage and want to have a lot of fun and things like that. So I moved away. Biggest learning and challenge was like being so task focused and having to deliver to just saying, well, actually, people come to work to enjoy, have fun, and those sorts of things. And I think, that was my sort of biggest learning around that. You can be successful and those sorts of things, but if you're not sort of well liked, or if you're just starting to be a bit prickly and things like that, then it can be hard work. And there's a lot more talented people in pharma and all industries that are in me. So you've got to have that mix of somewhat talent and passion, but just being a nice person that people really enjoy hanging around with and listening to and engaging with is a real part of in any organisation. So it's the how is so much more important than what you're delivering for the business, and engaging people and making sure they have fun in your presence is so important.
Yeah, I love that lesson, and I think of the interview I did with Molly Gunn. She's one of the recruiters in our industry, and she talks about pharma. One of the crucial factors for success, because she interviews many senior leaders like yourself, is just be a good person. And we could apply that to our industry, but just walking down the street every day, say hi to your barista, be nice to them. And, or something that you learn, I suppose, as a young man growing up is when you're on a date, be nice to the waiter. Like, you're probably being judged, because actually it's important. And that piece around, I think I went through a similar thing coming from a sports background like yourself. We are quite focused on performance, and then even in a team environment, because there can be a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're very competitive, and then that shift.
And that was my thing. I was really competitive, probably my own harshest critic, and I've had a great leadership coach over the last 10 years, and he's like, that being hard on yourself is a terrible badge on it to sort of carry around, because that then flows into hardness on other people. I mean, you touched on a really interesting point, and I love my sport, and Melbourne Storm, one of the most phenomenal sporting outfits and rugby league teams, and there's a great anecdote that Craig Bellamy, who's been coaching there now for 25 years, he takes the new recruits, these junior 15, 16, 17-year-old talented kids to the local coffee shop, doesn't give them any background, and he just watches their interaction with the staff at the coffee shop. Yeah. That's all he does. And the guy can have the greatest footballing resume, but if he's not a nice person, he just goes, look, he's not a cultural fit. Or he can be a fair footballer, but he's just fantastic and asks the waiter or the barista how their day was and has a chat and says to them, thanks a lot for coming, and gives them a tip and picks up the bill. He's like, yep, he's someone we want in our team. So if he's been the best, probably one of the best, Australia's best coaches the last 25 years, if that's his first kind of benchmark of judging people, then I think it's a pretty safe one for everyone.
Yeah, agreed. Does that mean you're a Melbourne Storm fan?
No, I'm unfortunately a West Tigers fan.
Wait, so it's looking like a good team.
That's penthouse to doghouse. You're comparing those two, unfortunately. So the less said about that, the better. And my two sons, I forced them into West Tigers. So unfortunately, that's probably child abuse in some cultures, but unfortunately, it's one in all in the household.
Yeah. Oh, too funny. I love that. I love that. Do you know someone who's going through the same struggle as you and could benefit from this video? Please share it with them. As they say, sharing is caring. And by spreading the knowledge, you're helping others find their path in to pharma. So go ahead, hit that share button, and let's grow this community together. Brilliant. Well, I guess coming back to the viewers and maybe a bit of coaching from you. You've such an impressive career, achieved so many things. For the viewers on this channel, there's probably, if I break it down into two subgroups, there's the ones with extensive, let's say, sales experience, but maybe not the educational background, let's say science, etc. The other group being they've done a science degree, but then they don't have the real life experience, or in particular pharma experience. And what they're finding as a big challenge is when they go to interviews,
no pharma experience.
No pharma experience. What's your advice on, what roles to look for, what skills to highlight? How can they just convince someone to give them a go? And it's that catch-22, right?
It is.
I want to give you a go, but
chicken or the egg, exactly. Yeah. And I think you've got really two clear audience groups that you talk about. So I think the sales people, I think pharma is a sort of a pyramid where the most amount of jobs down the bottom are those people out in the field. They're the biggest field forces and things like that. So the good thing about those people is they're hiring a lot of salespeople where they've got that skill set already. Where they might be lacking is that science. So I think be really study up and get passionate about the industry. There's lots of publicly available information. There's courses you can do, Medicines Australia, these sorts of things. So I think really understanding the process. What's the TGA, the PBS, knowing the companies, both prescription and consumer and those sorts of things. I think there's a lot of stuff available on the internet now to show that you're passionate and have an understanding of the industry. The other side that is probably more common is that the people with the health sciences, pharmacists, scientists, PhDs, physios, but then realise they want to sort of get into pharma. And I've got a great example of that with my wife, who's a PhD. She's been at AbbVie for now 11 years, but she had the same sort of thing. Call it 12 years ago when she was going for roles, and we just started going out. And I said, "You've got to get into pharma; it's a great industry." I was a big advocate even back then, and she went for these roles, got to the last stage, but just got that dreaded, you don't have pharma experience. So, we chatted about it, and she was in Melbourne at the time. She moved up to Sydney, and, not everyone has these, sort of luck, but a good friend of mine had a corporate travel business and just said, you've got all this on your resume, you don't have commercial experience. He said, give me 2 years, work for me for 2 years, business development, I'll learn about spreadsheets, tendering, tracking sales, all those sorts of things. She did that for 2 years, and literally 2 years to the day, she went back to my great friend Michael and said, look, I think I'm ready now. He said, of course, we had the deal. She went for all these pharma roles, got offered all of them.
Wow.
She got an MSL role at AbbVie and been there ever since. So my insight to that is she didn't have the commercial and that sales background. And she went out of her comfort zone. So, someday she'd come home going, gosh, I shouldn't be doing this stuff. I'm a PhD and people don't turn up for meetings, but that's life. People don't know what your resume is before they turn up to a meeting. So she did it. She did the hard yards. She's been in pharma since.
If you're finding value in these insights and want more exclusive access to industry trailblazers, hit that subscribe button down below. By hitting subscribe, you'll get notified every week of the new content that's packed with tips, expert guidance, and industry experience to help you transform your career and prevent you from making some of the mistakes that myself and our friends in pharma have made on their career journeys, ultimately making it easier for you to find your way into the pharma industry. Plus, you will be joining a community of like-minded future pharma leaders. So don't miss out.
And I think just, she filled that gap of the commercial side. So that would be, everyone's got those strengths and weaknesses, but where those gaps are, try and fill them, and sometimes it might be just going to a company and saying, I don't want any money, but I'll give you a few weeks. Let me come in. I'm passionate about marketing. Can I just come and help your team out? Or, I'm a salesperson, but I'd love to go out in the road and just shadow a sales rep, those sorts of things. I must say, and I'm sure lots of other people will be open to that, because I'm a big believer in people that reach out, and proactive, like you did on LinkedIn. I've had 2 meetings last week, corporate sort of events company, another one in marketing, because if they reach out and it's the right and they're respectful of your time, try and help anyone, within reason. So I think, I think that's the same for anyone that's going for a job as well. Inherently, people in pharma are good people. They want to see good people succeed. And it's just, showing that you're a good person, that you're passionate about it. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I love that. I'm seeing a little bit of the Craig Bellamy in you. And,
Don't say that. That's certainly not. Oh gosh, I like to think I swear far less.
Yes, I'll have to put a meme of that onto the channel. Oh my God, I love that. And I think like leveraging that Craig Bellamy example, like, don't have the experience, roll up your sleeves, like, come and train with the club with the first graders free. And Craig might be, wow, this kid's actually
passionate.
You
hear those stories all the time.
He might not be the best player, but he's collecting the balls for us. He's he starts as the ball boy, and then now he's
you
first
see that,
grader.
And I must say, I think in my career, I think I've had 3 or 4 people in the marketing team that have come through either USyd or Uni New South Wales sort of marketing internship programs. They come for like a whole sort of 8 to 10 week program. They start off, really green, but by the end, they're writing, either brand plans or involved in developing materials. And, I've had 3 or 4 that have like finished their degree and then have come straight back in, or have come in and worked part-time whilst they're still finishing their studies, and then have stayed on. And I can think of a couple of people that are now have great, not so much pharma, but marketing careers, just having come through and just worked their butt off when they were doing those uni internships and things like that.
Yeah. Now, so far, we've talked extensively about the sales role, but Michael is actually the head of sales and marketing. So if you're curious to learn more about how he thinks pharmaceutical marketing will change in the future, along with some of his secret strategies he's used to launch brands, but also defend brands once they have been genericized, click here for a fascinating dive into the world of pharmaceutical marketing.